Hey everyone, welcome back to the video series on building my own DIY photo booth. In today's video, we're going to kind of finish up placing the components within the frame. And then, probably not in this video, but probably in the next video, I'll show staining it so it looks a little bit nicer. So two main things I want to accomplish in this video. One is I want to find a place for the Raspberry Pi to go, and I'll show you what I've figured out so far. And the second thing is I bought this power strip, which I really like because it's got these two USB ports at the top and kind of a wall wart spaced adapter slot, and then two other outlets. But I did end up getting a wall wart for the display. That's what came with the display. And of course, I want to put it here. It doesn't really matter where it goes. The challenge is that by putting it there, that means that the footprint of this whole thing is not only whatever I measured this out to be 6 inches, 7 inches, something like that, but now it's like 4 inches across. And of course, within the booth, I only have 3.5 inches of space. So let me change the camera angle so you can see what I'm looking at, and then I'll show you what my plans are, since I can't exactly do what I was hoping to be able to do. All right, so initially my goal was to, let me move these out of the way. Initially, my plan was to put the power strip down here. That seemed like a reasonable spot. However, there isn't much space next to the display, and that didn't leave a whole lot of room for, especially a wall wart like this. So what I was hoping I could do is that I could put it up here and then plug the wall wart in. And of course, you can see even now, before it's even plugged in, that presents some challenges. It doesn't really fit there because it's sticking out over what would be the back of the booth. So that's not going to work. So what is plan C going to be? Well, it's actually a fantastic question. Plan C is probably going to be something like, I'll instead of having the power strip sit like this, I'll probably do something like Gorilla Glue the power strip to the side of the case right here, something like this. Yeah, you can see that. So something like that, leaving just enough space for me to plug the wall wart in so that it sits below the back of the case, that rear plexiglass. That's probably what I'm going to do there. Now, of course, I am going to need to find some way for the power cable to exit, so I'm probably just going to knock off this corner right here, take the saw and just kind of cut an angle into it, just big enough for the cable to fit through. Nothing fancy, just kind of do that. If I want to get fancy, I might cut a square notch. I don't know. We'll see when I get to that point what I want to do. The other thing that we need to do is find a home for the Raspberry Pi. Now, obviously, the Raspberry Pi is much easier to fit into the case. I could even stick it over here. There's lots of space. Obviously, I can't stick it here because that's where the power strip is going to go. But I do kind of want the Raspberry Pi to be more or less front and center. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just position it right there. I actually have some marks on the wood already, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these spacers, drill short little holes just long enough for the spacers to fit in, or the rather the screw holes for the spacers, the bolt part of the spacer. Stick that in a hole and just Gorilla Glue it in place. So that's my plan. So this part I'm going to do before I stain the box. That way I don't have to drill into something that has already been stained. Attaching the power strip I'm going to do after I've stained, because I don't want to get stain all over this and make that look ugly. And I think it'll make the wood look nicer too if it's stained prior to me sticking the power strip on it. So those are the two main things for right now. So first, let me drill holes here and get that set up, and then we'll move on to staining. Okay, so this actually worked out a lot better than I had expected. So you can see that I've got the Raspberry Pi mounted on the standoffs there. I actually didn't need to Gorilla Glue the standoffs. They are just hand tightened in there. I was able to drill a hole just big enough that I could hand screw the standoffs in, but not so big that they were, you know, swimming in there, which I assumed I was gonna have to drill them big and then fill them in with the Gorilla Glue. But turns out that I could just screw them into the wood, and as you can see, the Raspberry Pi is attached to those standoffs now. It's not quite straight, but it's pretty close. And with that, I think that part of it is done. Now I just need to disassemble the box, because I actually am going to Gorilla Glue all of the wood pieces together. So I'm going to disassemble the box and then take out that notch on actually the other side, but this joint on the other side of the box for the cable to go through, and then Gorilla Glue it all back together, and then start staining. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed what you saw here. Subscribe to the channel for the next installments in this series. And be sure to share this with friends, colleagues, anyone who you think might enjoy watching me continue to put together this DIY photo booth. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.